Welcome back to the More Than Rich podcast. Today, we're thrilled to introduce our returning guest making waves in the yogi world. Shiv, do you have any updates for us? I believe you wanted to make a recurring theme on this podcast. Anything you want to share with the audience before we jump into it?
Not really, but I'm moving uh, on 30th to some place to live in the nature and kind of hoping to renounce this physical world and this worldly world and live more like a yogi now. That's what is my next move.
Last time we talked, you mentioned the importance of self-inquiry and aligning our thoughts with universal principles. Can you define meditation from your perspective and explain its core principles?
Yeah, so, as I said last time, meditation is basically it's a state of mind. What meditation is that what do we achieve from meditation? It is not that we sit for some minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes, and something happens, you feel good. It's not that. The main purpose of meditation that our mind becomes calm. We reduce the number of thoughts over a period of time. And how those thoughts will reduce, that we have to understand. Why those thoughts are coming, that we have to understand. So to understand anything, we have to do self-inquiry. It is not that somebody will say that you sit under the, somewhere and breathe fast or breathe slow or do this or do that. It's not a physical exercise. This is not asana yoga. This is something we have to change our patterns because why the brain is behaving in such a way, why the brain is processing everything, why are we perceiving in a certain way. It's basically the patterns which have got embedded. So we have to by self-inquiry we will understand why are we always repeatedly doing something like this. Why is the other person not doing it like this? Why I'm more worried about, why I'm living a more worried life, why I'm behaving in a certain way. It's a behavior, basically behavior analysis, and why that behavior is happening, what is the trigger. So we have to do reverse engineering to basically go back and really understand. For that, this word we use self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is not a technique. It is just a process. It is a process to understand our behavior patterns. And behavior is nothing basically the outcome of thoughts. And why those thoughts are coming, why do we react to certain things? Thoughts are basically the output of sensory organ, whatever comes through the sensory organs to the brain, and how do we process it and how do we produce what kind of thought we produce. Somebody can produce a positive thought out of something which they see or hear or feel, and somebody can create a negative thought. But why that? Why? What is the difference? The difference is just how we have been programmed. So we have to find what wrong programming has been done, and for that we need to do self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is not a technique; it is just an analysis. It's just an analysis of our behavior and patterns and the trigger points and the conditioning what we went through. What we went through makes us what we are.
Would you argue that um, that we're constantly doing this, even at a subconscious level, that we're not aware of it, and maybe the meditation is what helps us maybe refine or retune those thoughts?
So again, we always get stuck with this word of meditation. That meditation is what is meditation? Nobody defines. How will you do self-inquiry? So basically, what people are actually doing in meditation is they should do self-inquiry while you're sitting. So self-inquiry is required to be done, not with bombardment of thoughts. So self-inquiry is needed. It's like an exercise. It's like a mental exercise. We do physical exercise. What is a mental exercise? How do we tame the brain? So this self-analysis is when you say that I want to meditate, but again, meditation is nothing for doing. You have to reach that state of mind. So if I'm doing self-inquiry, that I don't have to do meditation. I can just sit quietly somewhere. I can go in the park where there are no distractions. So meditation is basically dhyan. Dhyan is a word in India. In Hindi and Sanskrit, the word is dhyan. Dhyan means focus, attention. So meditation is nothing but dhyan. So if I am doing self-inquiry, I should be seriously. If I'm serious, I will do all the focus in that self-inquiry. I will not be distracted by other thoughts. I will be able to control that. So if you say I'm doing meditation, meditation means I'm actually doing an introspection or a contemplation, analysis, so that's what is self-inquiry. And when I start understanding, I'm really serious about it. I have to do that seriously. I have to find some time. You have to bring that in your routine. Like, it's a very funny thing. I had this habit of spending 30 minutes in the toilet. I will never come out in 5 minutes. So and then I realized I think that's where I was doing my self inquiry early in life, and that might have been carried forward from my
The-
previous. But and if you seriously
with
think, where is that time?
with the thinker pose just made me think.
Yeah, actually, and I generally I have this habit of sitting like this. I generally tend to take the support of my chin, like
That's
so.
funny.
The point is, in this, if you really look at this seriously, where do we get me time? Only the toilet, I think.
Yeah, that's true. On
Where
on
do you
that
get your me time?
On that note, though, can you emphasize maybe the importance of a clear mind? Because as a young as a youngin myself, I felt as I couldn't really escape my thoughts until I got older and experimented with some plant medicine. And then I was able to really get things under control where I'm not it's not just, entering my brain and exiting. Like I actually have control over what I want to think when I think it. But it took a lot of discipline and hard work to be able to control my thoughts, is my point. So coming back to my question, what is the importance of a clear mind or having no thoughts, and how can that be used in a maybe more positive way? Because it doesn't sound like a positive thing by saying I don't think about anything, right? How can that be used positively?
So, so clear mind means uh, if you have to cook in a vessel, the vessel should be. So, if you're going to use your mind for something, should there be? If you have made a road for only driving Mercedes, so you won't allow Volkswagen in that. That's a rule. So, if you want to analyze how the Mercedes cars are running, so obviously you will have only Mercedes. So if you are going to use your mind for something, so you don't want your mind to be getting distracted elsewhere. So that's what is clear mind. So clear mind is not that I remove all the thoughts. It's another way of saying, but the better way of saying is that if I'm going to do something, mind should be focused on that. So it's not that the mind is empty when I'm doing something. Mind is focusing on what I'm doing. It is also said that be in the present moment. So everything is you have to understand the meaning of the word clearly. If I say you have to be in the present moment, that means that I'm focusing on what I'm doing at that moment. I'm not thinking about past and future. And if you're not thinking about past and future, then obviously there's no other thought. And that time when you're doing something, you're focusing on that. The idea is that we do things sequentially. We don't do actually parallel processing. Because if you do parallel processing, that means you are having many thoughts at that moment. But then you can't be in that present moment because you are multitasking, and multitasking will really not work. So that focus will not be there because you're dividing your mind and the energy into different things, and that's not the best thing to do. Like I gave you an example, I think last the paper with the sun energy. So the whole focus is to burn the paper. So I can't distribute the energy. I have to focus it if I have to burn it. So you have to focus your mind to what you're doing. You can't be burning two paper at a time because it will focus on a given point. It cannot focus on two different points at a certain distance. It can only focus because maybe you can increase the area of depending upon like how much focus is needed actually. So if you want less focus and you can still burn the paper, maybe you can reduce the focus. You can distribute the energy to a larger surface area. So it all depends. So we have to really see that it is about clearing mind means it's not that you don't have to clear the mind. So when we say that we have to clear the mind, we feel there's some effort required. Now think it other way, that I have to just focus on what I'm doing. That's the other way of looking at it.
I think my last question on meditation is I often will feel guilt about my own self because I know when I need to do it and I'll neglect it. Do you have any advice? I mean, obviously you can clearly say just set a timer and make sure you do it. But how do I really drill into my head that I really want to do this and I can't convince myself to just sit down sometimes? And I'm sure many people struggle with this.
So I will say that we should not be. I don't believe in forcing something. I don't believe in creating some routine, though it is always good to create a routine. But life is not so set. There
Mhm.
are there are random things happening sometimes, and you have to take care of that. There is something to be fixed. You have to give priority. So you have to prioritize your life. It's not that 8 o'clock I have to meditate. You may not meditate. You may not do self-analysis, self-inquiry for maybe 4 days, because there are some pressing needs. The point is that I have certain responsibilities, because again, what do we do? What do we focus on? So if I am doing something, so I have to focus. So I have to focus on that. Now, what I'm going to do is my responsibilities. So it is not that I leave my responsibility and I start sit and do meditation. My prime job in this on this planet is to perform. To perform, I have responsibilities. So I have to. That's my priority. Nothing else. And if I can focus on those responsibility, so those responsibility have certain tasks, and those tasks have to be done with focus. And if I can do that, that's the prime goal we should keep in mind, that I have to do certain tasks and I should be focused in that, and I should do them with perfection. And if I am focused, they will be the outcome will be good, and there'll be a learning, and it will definitely come out perfectly. If I'm not focused, so if you can do that, there's nothing else needed, because that's the whole idea, to be focused in what you're doing, and that makes you in the present moment, and then the thoughts will go away.
Yeah, I guess you could just technically breathe and control your deep breaths wherever you are, right? Like in the moment, wherever you're
Not
at.
required. No, no, not required. Why do you want to fiddle with the breathing? That's very natural thing which is happening. Why do you? I came across one gentleman. He's a some quite a renowned guy, I think, in his field. I don't want to talk more about who he is. Recently, he contacted me, and he was doing some meditation, some transcendental meditation. He said, I was doing TM and I was doing deep breathing. Then he says, I've got headache now. Off and on, I get headache. So he feels he got it through this. So he did that without really understanding what he was doing. So somebody told, do TM. Now you don't understand what is TM. You don't understand I do excessive breathing. Why do I do? People don't understand scientifically, and they start doing things, and people are selling those things. So the point is, why do you want to fiddle with your breathing?
Yeah,
Fiddle with your brain. Brain controls the breathing. Breathing also, when the mind is calm, when the brain is calm, when the brain is empty, it's not processing unnecessarily. It is not dissipating unnecessarily. Breathing is normal. When you get agitated, the breathing changes. Why do you get agitated? Because thoughts are coming. So basically, control your mind. Breathing will remain normal. If you trying to control the output of the input, instead of control the input, that's the real input.
I feel like Americans are just shallow breathing everywhere they go. That's the funny part about what you're saying is I agree with you, but I also feel like I personally notice the differences whenever I'm doing deep breathing. Just my thoughts slow down. I become a lot more calm. Like like I actually notice as I'm doing it when my mind
Yeah,
state is
because you are consciously trying to think of something which will going to help you. So in some way, you're removing those distractions which are coming. So you're trying to focus on something. So now, obviously, when you're trying to focus on something, whether it is breathing or you can think of anything else,
anything. Yeah.
you are going to get rid of those distractions which are bothering you. It's nothing else.
Interesting. Coming on to like last episode, you highlighted spiritual practices and their impact on your journey. Can you elaborate maybe some effective meditation techniques that you've practiced or taught?
Like yeah, it's very difficult to explain meditation techniques. The only technique I keep telling is self-inquiry, nothing
Okay.
else.
No, that's good
We
then.
have to understand, we have to basically, we get drowned in the sea of words, and we are stuck in those. So people talk about various practices, and I keep telling about self-inquiry, 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 nothing else, because that's how you can clear up your mind. Without self-inquiry, without reprogramming your mind, re-engineering your mind, without re-engineering your patterns and behavior, you will not be able to get rid of those unnecessary thoughts. So if you don't, if you reach that state, if you can clean your mind, it can remain utilized when it is needed. and doesn't dissipate when it is not needed, then you have reached one level. And then the meditation which happens at after that, actually. And that's a very different process, which probably I think no one knows. No one has done that here in the present times. Rare people might be doing it, but that must be the very difficult thing to do, because then that meditation people will have to sit still, body still, and mind still for prolonged period of time, not just 30 minutes, maybe days. The purpose is very different. The purpose is you go for a long period of meditation, focus, thinking about something, to get those answers which have not been found. Like today, I was making a video last 2 days about how the modern science is exploring cosmic science and about your brain and mind. I've gone through a couple of lectures from scientists, professors, and scientists from MIT or University of Arizona or some Oxford, Cambridge. So I see how they are just doing copy paste of so and so said this, so said this, so and so said this. It's written here. So they are just collating, compiling. I was doing one online. I thought, let me explore this online course from MIT. Now this professor is just compiled, copy paste, and created a presentation, but nothing from his own, no, from their own. Astrophysicists compiling data from the lab observatory, some data coming from the spacecrafts, and some data coming from the space telescopes. And they have 3 data points, and from 3 data points, which is collected over a long period of time, they are doing constant. They are basically data analysts. They are not using their own brain. So what I'm talking about meditation, which the ancient rishis in India they do, what you only heard, but no, I haven't come across anyone who's gone to that level through meditation. And that is meditation. We are only imitating that pose, what the rishi used to do for a long period of time. That's meditation. So it's become a complete hoax. The whole thing has become a big hoax.
So last time you highlighted the spirit. No, wait, hold on. Okay, yes, here, this one. We touched upon the concept of energy fields and vibrations. What are manifestations in the context of meditation and spirituality, and how do they occur?
I think I'd explained in my last talk also. See, manifestations, why are people so worried about manifestations? First of all, anybody ask me, what do you want to manifest? What do you want to manifest?
Are you asking?
No one knows.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah, I
like,
will like, so like, no, I'm not really asking, but I'm just saying that I will ask like this, that what the hell you want to manifest? Do your work,
I
do
mean,
your job,
yeah, like everyone's most common things are just like health,
get a
family, or
boyfriend.
wealth. Yeah, all the common things, right?
Well, then that's been greedy, So
Yeah.
then you are not, if so you have to tell, I will ask the next question. Are you greedy? How much wealth you want? You don't know. Why do you want so much wealth? So then you go into a different area, and the question will go, because if you do a self-inquiry on this itself, then your question will dissolve. Basically, once your mind is clean, all the questioning goes away. Infructuous question, they are all irrelevant questions. We do a lot of irrelevant questioning because we are not sure what we want in life. We don't know what we should have in life. It's not what we want in life. It's not about what we want in life, because we don't know what we want in life. What should we have in life? That's more important. This nobody questions. So that's why we talk about manifestation. Well, the whole idea of asking about manifestation is, I want to manifest wealth. It's so if you're trying to do something wrong, manifestation will not happen. That's my say. The manifestation is whatever is happening is actually everything is manifesting. And manifestation is nothing. It's the outcome of all our karmas. Whatever you do, if you kill somebody, your reward will be manifested in accordingly. If you do good work, the manifestation, what will be the outcome of that, your deed, is actually manifestation. Manifestation is nothing, input, output. That's manifest. What you do, you get that.
For sure.
That's only mission. It's not that I've sit for 30 minutes and every day I commit a murder, but every day I get $1 million. It's not happen. It cannot happen like that. Meditation, if it was possible like that, people would have actually, everybody would have manifested well. How many of these teachers who are teaching all these manifestation or law of attraction, law of assumption, how many of them have actually made wealth? They might have made wealth by fooling people,
So
selling these.
what you're trying to say is you'd have more success working on your karma and helping other people if you're really trying to manifest quotes.
You don't have to help any people. You have to do your karma. And if you see, these are all things of self-analysis. Whatever you do is not for yourself. If you really think deeply, whatever you do is not for yourself. All your responsibilities, all your tasks which you do are your responsibilities. Suppose you're working in a company. You're not working for yourself. Primarily, you're working for the company. They are paying you. So you have to now do a task. You have every day you have some set of tasks. And when you do those tasks, they are not meant for you. They are meant for the company. And when you go home, you have a responsibility towards your parents, children, or spouse. So you are actually all only doing work for others, and people just don't think like this. They think that whatever they're doing is for making money, and money is not the main game. When you are employed, the owner is not employing you because you want to make money. He is employing you because he wants some work out of you, and then he gives you money. So money
Mhm.
is become secondary, not the primary. And we pretty much wonky are very selfish. We think from a very shallow point of view, a
That's a
very
good,
narrow, through a very narrow lens.
that's a really good answer, honestly, because I think people don't assume that that comes after the work. I think they just assume money, give it to me, and that's it. Like they don't think past beyond that. But in our
Yeah,
last
yeah.
com
So there are the people are sorry in the in the world today, because this is business. So people are dangling carrots of manifestation. I will tell you something you can manifest. The whole world wants money. They're greedy. So all the greedy people run after him. He'll make me manifest wealth. So let's try and see. So people go get fooled, come back. How many people? The whole world would have been rich if such techniques existed. So people would have cleared their mind. Everybody would have become wealthy. It's not. It doesn't happen like that. So we are living in a fool's paradise. All of us are living in a fool's paradise, frankly. All educated, developed nations, so-called people are like technological advanced. But if you really look, it's all fake. It's all bullshit everywhere. A lot of bullshit everywhere.
this is kind of an out there question, but would you ever argue maybe that the universe prioritizes like the karma that's being paid off, like those people who are working on themselves? Is that a good question? Is there a way to word
Yeah,
that
yeah.
better?
See what happens. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I think this everybody will understand, because every action means it's a force. So the whole universe is energy. Energy, which is what is manifesting, is basically energy is transforming constantly. It's constantly transforming. Whatever devices we produce, whatever gadgets we produce, that is also actually we are manifesting something from something. So we are basically transforming. So every input will give output. So what happens is whatever we do has to have some output. And to do what we do is an action, which is input, and the output will be the redemption, the redemption to us. There are basically something which is actually physically happening, and also it will also give a reward to us. So that's a kind of a law of karma, or law of universe. And how the redemption will happen, when it will happen, that must be a very deep science. Because suppose you have 100 redemptions due, so and all have a different intensity, and so they have to be scientifically queued, like we do a queuing system.
Wow,
There is a queuing system.
that's what I thought, but continue. That's interesting.
So we have so many queuing system because many tasks are queued up. So based on we have a priority system, we have a system of priority, we have a system of timing. Suppose you have 10 years left, and you've done 100 karmas, 1,000 karmas, and in the next 10 years, all those karmas have to be redeemed. Plus, you'll be doing more karmas in the next 10 years. So everything has to be redeemed. So how that will be timed, and what duration will be a redemption. So I think that's a whole lot of science, and it's all mathematics. They say this creation is mathematical. It's all mathematics.
Wow.
So it's basically the creation is a combination of mathematics, chemistry, science, and biology. And what we do in the modern science, we have those basic sciences, but the depth of those sciences together is not really understood, because the creation works along with that. Our material science, this body which is made, its biology and chemistry, and how the whole energy is moving around is physics, and how everything is happening is mathematics. So if you see, all the four things are there.
My friends and I were joking about this the other day. I really want your opinion on it. You just reminded me. We were talking about how, so there's some stories, they may be true or not true, but um of people being visited, right? Like, for example, God warranted that an angel should come down and speak because for whatever reason, the timeline warranted it. Like, you needed to know this information, so an angel came. But my point is, could you imagine if it's possible that bureaucracy existed in another dimension or in another life, that you had to get approval to come talk or interact with humanity? Could that be a realistic scenario? That bureaucracy, it's not just a human
So
thing.
we try to I feel we create a lot of theories just to convince ourselves. But I would say, if this creation is so scientific, it is so scientific. If you see, all the planets are moving in a perfect harmony, perfect synchronicity, perfect timings. Everything is so perfect. And such a huge planet is moving at a great speed, rotating at a great speed, and all the seasons, sunset, and you see how the sun is rising without fail. Who's doing it? So when somebody has created this marvelous creation, which is beyond our comprehension, but it can be if we think really logically. So why should somebody need to appear? If I have created a perfect machine, why will I appear to? What is my need? What is, if I create a beautiful system which doesn't need any intervention? So this is the most automatic system, the most foolproof automatic system. We create automatic systems. Why? So that we don't need intervention. So we are constantly, now what is AI? What is AI? We are trying to create AI because we want to reduce external intervention
Yeah.
because all automation.
Wow.
So we are living in a highly automated system, probably.
That's a good little, like, a Russian doll effect in a way, no?
Yeah, because if you see that some God will come, or so there's a bureaucracy, there might be also. But well, then what is the purpose of bureaucracy? If they might be, because you don't know how the entire creation is. Who's making it work? Does God need 10 people? If God will need people, then is he, maybe God is all encompassing, or
Yeah,
maybe he needs.
for sure. One of the things I guess we didn't really talk about was the concept of a Messiah or God coming in the past. Can you maybe elaborate on, was Jesus an extraterrestrial person? Did he have abilities? Was he working on frequencies? Do you have any thoughts on these things?
I think, yeah, like even in Hindu mythology, we have avatars. So coming when they say when the intervention is needed, as you asked in the previous question, if intervention is needed, then probably God will decide when it is needed, not that we decide that today, because every era people feel they are the worst, and we feel today that we are the worst. But I think we didn't see World War I and World War II and the economic recession of depression of 29. So, or we didn't see those Spanish flu and the plagues and all those things, where millions of people used to vanish in the last 5 decades, or maybe more, since World War II. Such kind of vanishing acts have not happened.
Hmm.
So the point is, how do we know that this is a time for the avatar to come? So, and if they have come, we don't have any proofs right now. There are only stories like we ever heard. So it's up to you. You want to believe in so many things which are around you, or you want to see them rationally. And if he comes, what's wrong? I mean, let him come, because let him decide that he needs. And what happens is, what I feel, there is a scientific way of saying, when the nature does ecological balance, when something when the negativity, the negative energy increases a lot of a certain area. Suppose there are more people doing more evil things in any country. So you will see, probably there are a lot of storms, there are typhoons, there are blizzards. So nature will, because we are all energy being. And what kind of energy the human is actually like, animals are not fiddling with the energy system. No other species in this planet, on this planet, is actually fiddling. So maybe we have been created to see, maybe it's a game that you evolve and you evolve and you dissolve, and then the next civilization comes. So you are given a chance to evolve. And then if you look at the theory of yugas, if you look at the theory of yuga, 4 yugas in Hindu, that the sun goes around 24,000 years, so the different years, not this year, solar years. And it is divided into 4 quadrants, and there are these yugas. So based on the distance of the sun from its distance from the other star around which it is revolving, those based on the changing distance, because the orbits are elliptical. So based on the changing distance, the energy exchange is different, changing. And based on that, the mental and physical abilities of the humans is also changing. So presently, civilization will be dissolved. A new civilization will come in the new era. So like destruction will happen. Like there is an epic called Mahabharata in India. So there was the war which fought, and then like Noah's Ark, or we call it Pralay, like deluge, completely world deluge, Noah's Ark. All these stories are there which tell that there have been civilization. We have seen Atlantic. We talk about Atlantic. We also talk about, we found
Lumeria.
there are some like cities which are found under the ocean, under the
Yeah,
sea.
Lumeria and
Yeah.
Atlantis. Yeah.
Like if you see Dwarka is a city in Gujarat, coastal Gujarat, and this Lord Krishna was 5,000 years before, and Lord Krishna had made Dwarka city, which is found underwater. The
Wow.
city which was 5,000 years, it's found underwater. You can see the video. They have been, divers sent down and taken photographs of the city. So those civilizations did exist. They got wiped out because when the yugas changed and there is too much of negative energy. Like why do you ampute a leg? When it cannot be healed, you ampute it.
Wow. So
So
would you argue probably that's probably what the flood was on a massive scale, resetting the earth?
yeah, so nature will reset. Nature does reset. What are we talking about? Climate change. So climate change, we are creating poisonous gases. We are creating so much of muck. There was such a huge plastic in the Atlantic Ocean. So we are harming the other species. So many species are becoming extinct because of our greedy actions. What are we trying to create? What are we generating? We are creating so much of pollution, all kind of pollution. So the nature is going to react, because nature, we are designed to live in harmony with the nature. But what are we living today? I'm living in a prison. I call this, my house is a prison. People used to live in mud houses. Cement was, invented, created 100 years back. Before that, Great Wall of China is made of this mud and what do you call it? It's a mix of something like that. So
Wow.
if you see all stone mud houses, which are so many years old. If you see the temples in India, there are some 1,000-year-old temple, 800-year-old temple. How it is standing is, look at the marvel of the temple. Look at the technology. You can't even imagine how they created such boulders and carved such perfectly, symmetrically. So much architecture out of it. What technology they use, you can't even imagine that. There's a Ajanta Ellora caves in India, which is the whole temple has been created by excavation technology.
Oh,
It is
wow.
excavated. It is underground.
In a cave?
Actually, that should be a wonder of the world. But we call Taj
Yeah.
Mahal as a wonder.
Yeah.
That should be a wonder, because, and people don't talk about that, because if you talk about the kind of technologies which did such kind of construction, then people will say, oh, this country was so advanced. But now there are a lot of political things. You want to say that I am more advanced, you're not advanced, you are not advanced, I was always advanced. I mean, those kind of human
That,
complications.
that is interesting to think about. Like, we're competing who was more advanced in the past. Um, you don't have to go too deep into this question. We can start the new episode in a minute, but do you have any thoughts just on magic in general, Magick, that kind of magic? And because the reason I'm asking is because I have quite a few books on it from studying it from the 1600s and just how it's evolved and its perception. Not so much on how to do things with it, but just so much if it exists and in what sense you believe it exists, how it's
See,
changed,
there are
maybe.
there are two aspects to magic. In fact, two, and then I will further break down them into two. And that's my understanding, because it's a very random question, and going to give an
For
answer
sure, for sure.
because, yeah, like this is a rapid fire round kind of thing you're doing with me. So magic is like there are two kind of magician, two kind of people who use magic. I will talk about Indian context. One is who's actually a magician who's performing this as an art,
Mhm.
because magic is an art. Because magicians have said himself that this is an art. It's not that he's telling you the trick how he did it, because if he tells it, you have to and become a magician, and you will keep that as a secret. So that's one use of magic as an art. Now there is a category of people in India who are using actually that art and becoming spiritual gurus and telling
Wow.
that they have some godly power.
I'm glad we brought it up then.
So there are a lot of such people, and in fact, now there's one young girl, Suhani Shah in India. She's a mentalist. She does mind reading. It's a trick, and she's also telling this all these spiritual gurus who are doing these kind of tricks, and getting people thinking that he's God gifted and God sent. So this world is a chaos, total chaos, and all kind of people exist, and like a bomb is made out of a
Oh
technology
my
which was not
God.
supposed to make bombs. So everything get used by two kind of people. We have good and bad. We have good and bad.
That's a
So that's
really
about
good
magic,
point.
and magic is this is an art. Now beyond magic, you can say mysticism.
Mm.
That's a different subject. So I don't want to mix mysticism with magic. Your question is only about magic, and what I've told you is this. What
May-
I understand from
Maybe
it's
you
an
can
art.
just separate them in like a couple sentences, just the differences. That would be helpful.
So a lot of people, when there are some mystics, if there are mystics, and there have been mystics, I have not come across mystics, but I did have some mystics, those kind of experiences in some places. But they were can't be explained, and also I can link it with manifestation, because when you are purifying, when you are clearing your mind, you everything is happening, because when you've cleared your mind, you're not making things happen which should not happen. So whatever is happening, whatever you're doing what you should be doing. So you start thinking, I'm actually manifesting. So when there is a collection of pure people, everything is manifesting. Basically everything is happening what should happen. Nothing that should not happen is not happening. So we start feeling it's manifesting, and we start feeling it's mystic, but we don't understand there is a law of universe.
Mm.
So there is a difference, and people get distracted towards something they call mystic, and this is my understanding. And as you because the mind has huge capability, and people can read mind, that's also an art. Like this girl, so Anisha, she reads mind. She has a trick. So you people do hypnotism, people do bending of spoons and all, which you told last time.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
the mind has capabilities, and you can learn things. And I have read mind people. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens, because if I spend 3 4 days with somebody, I'll start reading their mind.
Let's let's
So
jump
it says,
let's jump back into this call. I know it's about to end any second right now, but I got the
yeah.
rest of these questions and we'll stay on topic. So we explored the concept of self-inquiry. What differentiates right questioning from irrelevant questioning in the context of spiritual inquiry?
Whatever context may be, questioning should always be right questioning. We should be rational in what we are thinking, and that's why it's very important that we have to dissect the words. When we use any word, we should be very, very careful that why I'm using this word. Like I said, somebody said manifesting. So we don't question why I want to manifest. So any word we use, whatever we think, we don't do deep analysis. We just we are like
We just
generally
talk.
gossiping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talk blah 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 blah. We talk too much. Go into silence. Don't talk. Stop talking.
Mhm.
If you stop talking, you will do enough introspection. If you reduce your chatter by basically there's a chatter, constant chatter, unnecessary chatter. We want to go and talk to people. Why? We are dissipating. we are not utilizing the energy which we have in the body for what it should be utilized, and should not be utilized when there's no task overlapping with my responsibility, and I should be shutting off my engine. I should hibernate like a computer. I put into hibernate. Why should I go into unnecessary chatter? And what is a so we do a lot of things just for the sake of doing, because everybody is doing it and it's considered really hip, and it's like the in thing, and it's trendy. So there is a lot of consumerism and capitalism which is influencing our life, and we are actually controlled by that, and whatever we do is basically all manipulated through that in a large way. And this
The
is itself is a very big topic.
the law of capitalism. I've never heard that, but I like that one. Like the cause and effect of everything right there, single-handed.
Mhm.
Um, you talked about the awe and significance of mystical experiences in our last episode. So why do mystical experiences awe us, and what is their actual significance in spiritual growth?
Because we are not focused on our, so we want only awe for the sake of gossiping, for the sake of shortcuts, for the sake of achieving something magically, mystically.
That's a good
We want
point.
quick resolution. We don't want to see why something happened. It's like we go to a doctor when something happens. He gives a medicine which doesn't go treat the root cause, but only just cures that thing. So we are used to allopathy. We are used to that medical system.
That's interesting. That's a good way to put it, actually. You don't really think about how that might influence our way of life. Um, Speaking of the Himalayas, what constitutes a spiritual experience, and how do you recognize one?
Any experience is basically actually again a self-inquiry. And when you go to Himalayas, you're going with a purpose. And Himalaya has a certain kind of environment, a way of living, and it is spiritual exploration is considerable thing that people are doing that. It's not that you are in New York or you are in London or you're in Paris that you are doing a spiritual exploration. Himalayas is known for this. So it is, the whole environment is stitched like that. And when you do a self inquiry, sorry, can you just repeat that question, because I think I slipped the
Yeah,
forgot actually.
just what constitutes a spiritual experience, and how do you recognize when you're having one?
Yeah. So what happens? You are intentionally going with the idea of to do some spiritual inquiry in those places. So when you're doing a spiritual inquiry specifically and spending more time doing that, your all your receptacles are open for that, and it's not expecting something more. So you're focused in that. So when you're gaining knowledge, when you're learning, you're observing, you're talking to some people who are wise. You're not getting into gossip talks, but you are now focused talks about that. You're talking to somebody who will give you wisdom. So you are, and the people are pretty wise. They are living in a traditional way and in a very spiritual way. So you are learning, your inputs to your brain is very different. So what wisdom you're gathering, that's what is spiritual experience. And then you will feel, oh, I feel great. I feel this happened, that happened. So you will have, because your energy levels are changing there, because you're processing, your machine is now generating positive energy because you're doing all positive tasks. So that automatically gives you a different feeling. And when that area itself has people who are operating positively, so the energy of that area becomes very, very different compared to a toxic place. So you're going from a toxic place to a heaven, so-called heaven on earth.
Wow, that's a good way. I like that one. You highlighted significance of experiences that might seem mystical or magical. Are OBEs real phenomena or simply products of imagination?
So first of all, like I see so many videos on OBs are there. And like I told you last time also that everybody is dying and coming back. Seem to be. Because there are channels who have dead attorneys, you know. So
Mhm.
is it really possible that some dead got died and came back? And if you list few of them, I listen to them, a few of the, just to understand what really they're talking about. They're all talking nonsense. They're talking, we went there, we saw this, that. I mean, you can create stories just to get a TRP. People are dying to be heard. They're dying to become famous.
Literally,
The
literally dying to be
urge
heard.
to become famous. Yeah, yeah. People are now desperate to become famous. They want to be heard, and there's nobody to talk to. We are a broken society. We have no one to talk to. So we are only now connected to the screen. So people think the screen is the only way I can be connected to a lot of people. And if 10 of my relatives don't talk to me, but if 100 people can press a like button, I'll be very happy. So that's the stimulation people are seeking. So that's how the society is. And again, all this was capitalists have only done this. Digital poisoning, who has done this? Telecom, WhatsApp, Facebook, it's all poison. LinkedIn, all poison.
Very interesting.
So otherwise, did you hear about OBs before this social media came up? I don't
No.
think I heard about it. No.
That's a good
It's all a
question.
it's all a production of certain channels who are. I can tell you there's one podcaster who approached me and she told me, "Do you have something controversial?" Now I connected to another guy in India. He is also making some stupid controversial, and I did some fact checking myself, and I found everything is all bullshit. But he's got 5 billion views.
Oh my
So the whole
God.
idea is there are 90% fools on the planet. So if you want more views, you make something which they want. Feed what people want.
It's true. It's so true. Last time we
Now
spoke,
it's up to you what you head with.
last time we spoke about the importance of aligning with universal principles. How do you define detachment in the spiritual sense, and why is it beneficial?
Detachment is detachment. Spirituality is another word which we have used. Normal living is spirituality.
Mm,
Humanity is spirituality. Understanding humanity is spirituality. What is detachment? Detachment, why should there be attachment? So if you ask the right question, so if you ask why should be the attachment, I think you will get your answer yourself. Because attachment is, what is attachment doing? Is it making you happy?
that's a good point. Yeah, you're just binding to physical things usually.
Yeah, you are with attachment. What is happening next? Expectations, controlling, then frustration, then anger, then anxiety, then depression, then mental wreck. So it's a compounding effect in a sequence. See,
I
and
think
this
the
is called self-analysis. What I've told you.
I think the first time I realized I had attachment was when I sold my very first car and it was driving away. And I was like, wow, that's a weird feeling. That hurts. Like seeing an item that you owned or you really cared about or, had some, you assigned this value to it. And then I realized very quickly, I'm like, well, it's just an item.
Yeah, we have to think a little more. Like that's why the self-inquiry is needed. Why it should be attached? Because everything is temporary.
Hmm.
When everything is temporary, then why should we be attached? We have come on this planet without anything. We need things. We need things. We get those things, but we should not become possessive. Because if I need something which I don't need later on, I should let it go. If you do this kind of questioning, you will really understand, and your patterns will change. Your detachment will become stronger. Your attachment going away with everyone.
Not to get too off topic, but how often does that translate into relationships as well?
Everything. Why is relationship something different on the planet? What is relationship? I made 2 videos on relationship. I have a lot of videos lined up now for the next till November. I release every week. I made 2 videos on relationship. What is relationship? Relationship is a contract. It's a you have a responsibility towards your father, towards your wife, towards your children, or towards whatever, towards the employee. Like relationship with my employer, isn't it?
Mhm.
What is it? It is defined by KRAs and KPIs. Okay, and it is measurable. They have defined measurables. Even in the house, if I get married, I have my KRAs, and that's my task. That's my karma. My wife has a KRA. My daughter, they may not perform. There's nobody to monitor it. There were people to monitor it in the traditional system, but today the traditional system has been thrown out, and we talk about now we are developing. So that's a problem.
Man, that's a good way to put it. I haven't thought about it like that. You shared steps towards achieving a higher state of consciousness in our last episode. What are practices or steps one can take to reach a state of detachment?
Yeah, detachment is one of those traits of human, one of the humanity requirements of humanity. So when you do a self-analysis about your own self, you have to do the self-analysis about different qualities we have. So one of the qualities, are you attached or detached? Because so we have to do a self-analysis about each and every quality which is there in you. Are you greedy or you're not greedy? Are you selfless or you're selfish? So you have to do all this analysis about in every thought and action. So we have to do a back. You have to constantly look back all the events which you can remember. Like something bothered you. Why it bothered you? What happened in that particular transaction? So you do an inquiry. Where was there my ego? Was I greedy? Why I was jealous? Why did I become jealous? So do we even realize that we become jealous? We keep becoming jealous. We keep getting jealous, but we don't realize, and we keep doing that. And then you can't sit and meditate and manifest because that jealousy is bothering you.
That
So you are
emotion.
creating a negative. Yeah, it's a emotion is just thought.
Mm,
Emotion is a literary word. Emotion is a literary word, but scientifically it is a thought. It's actually a
wow.
signal because the signal which is coming from sensory organ is getting processed in the brain, and the output is also a signal, which we call it a thought because after all, it is all energy moving, and we create our aura, and then collectively we create our own collective energy field. I can give you a great example of Ukraine. I mean, it's my understanding. It's
Hmm.
my observation. I was in Poland for 2 years. I've come across many people from Ukraine.
Hmm.
It's my understanding. What is happening in a certain country is an outcome of the collective energy which is there. I think this much is good enough to tell. I don't have to go more into the details. So there is, yeah,
No, I was just gonna say, what would you say that implies about maybe Russia? Like a lot of negativity in the area, or not just Russia, but both those countries being bordered right there against each other. Just a lot of tension. Is that what you're getting at?
who's suffering more? Who's suffering more?
Mm, interesting.
So, so whoever is suffering more is,
It's interesting because
paying for what they were.
I just feel like that's kind of what a lot of our problems in America are, that we don't see commonalities because we're always trying to
Yeah,
do this victimization circle of who suffered more, or we lost more than you did, so you can't relate to us. And then it puts this whole segregation, against each other because somebody suffered more than the other. And we're in the same country, we're not even fighting against each other, but we're putting each other against each other. Do
yeah.
you
This
have
is what the politicians do. What is the policy of crooks to rule? Divide and rule.
mm,
If you see all the laws which have been created, why there are so many separations? Why there are laws which are favoring women? Why? And now the women are using those laws against men.
I
So
hate I
what
hate
you
to say
create a
that you're
law?
right. I hate to say that you're right, but you are.
Yeah. So the politicians, we don't understand how they operate. To what extent they want to create a divide. If the world is divided, it's easy to rule. And that's, I've heard this strategy in organizations from a lot of people. The top wants to be the bottom to be divided. So they
Mm,
90% of 95% of the people are threatened by the strong people. Like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs said that I want good people. I also believe that I want good people in my team because they will elevate me and they'll keep me happy. And I used to tell that you should make me redundant. My team should make me redundant. It should be that great. I'm not threatened. I'm confident. But most of the people are threatened. So they want to divide and rule. They are crooks. You think good people are coming to the politics?
no, because they're all corrupt.
If you
Yeah,
look at Biden, I mean, what kind of person? And I don't want to say, but even my country,
yeah,
the people are like, dictators. It's a dictatorship in camouflage. Democracy
yeah,
camouflage is dictatorship. Basically,
yeah.
this is what.
Or a fascist technocratic.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's horrible. Um, so just on last thoughts on detachment here, would you consider that people not meditating are likely too attached? The people that aren't
Again,
making
again,
time for self-inquiry. Sorry,
yeah,
self-inquiry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
Stop
yeah,
using
but
that
if you
word.
don't, so why is attachment happening, first of all?
Hmm.
Because we all are living in a world, society, which is more and more getting influenced by attachments because it's driven by consumerism. So the definition of success today, we all see as glamour. Glamour is basically sum total of consumerism.
Hmm.
It has got different aspects to the glamour is for a male, it's a female, for a female, it's a male or money. This and there is products around built around that. So if you read my book Social Pandemic, I've explained this very nicely that a man is made to change, a woman is glamorized so that man gets distracted, not attracted. I don't call any attraction, there's nothing called attraction, it's actually all distraction. Attraction is actually equal to distraction. It's not opposite, because why should you be attracted to anything? It should be a liking, but not attraction, because that's a distraction. So they created a distraction for men. The distraction for men, top distraction for men, driven by lust, because lust is another negative quality we have. So over lust, and then they created a woman so that they create more distraction. Okay, so the sense of dressing completely got changed. Then the women also need a distraction, so they created a distraction for women by creating those narratives. Somebody said diamond is very precious, so diamond become very expensive. So you're spending millions on a stone. Actually, it's a stone, and so that the woman can, so that you can win a woman, you will buy a diamond. So to buy a diamond, you'll work. So now they've created a consumerist society, which is built. So the woman is made to chase diamond, and the man is made to chase woman. To chase a woman, he needs a diamond. So this is a whirlpool we are in. In short.
Wow.
So attachment is basically, we are all attached to the glamour basically, because that's built around the success. The whole success is built around a materialistic. It's a materialistic success, and so we are attached because we are desperate to get that. And if we get it, we don't want to lose it. So attachment is that we don't want to lose it, because I've really got it with a hard way, very hard way. I've really burnt my ass off, and somehow got it. I don't want to lose it, so I'm attached.
That's a good way to put it.
And I'm
You,
surrounded by all bullshit.
you
I'm surrounded
also
by all crap.
you also made me think about how animals are also aware of our attachments, because there's been plenty of times in my life where I had something that meant a lot to me, and then like a dog, for example, the best example I have was a dog ate a check of mine one time, a piece of paper, because he knew that that check was so important to me, and like maybe you can relate to that, but there's been other examples of I just I think animals have an intuition of why do you put so much value on this material item? Now I'm going to keep it away from you since it's so valuable to you. But do you have any thoughts on that? Like, can other life forms know your attachments, not just and it's a subconscious thing, right? It's not like we're telling them or anything.
Why is other life form able to have intuition? We also have intuition, but our intuition is suppressed by our ignorance, ego. Why I have to do self analysis? Because I'm ignorant. So I'm in the dark. So if I'm in the dark, means I'm not connected to my true self. I'm not connected to my true human potential. I have completely suppressed that. But that's what the animals have not done, and
Ah,
that's why they have sixth sense. That's the only difference. They are pure. They are embedded. They have embedded software. They've not been given this, probably to veer around from into some different direction. So we are in a kind of a game, but they are not. So
oh,
somebody asked me in my last yesterday. Somebody commented, I made a video on learning from animals, because after talking to you only, I made that video that you asked me this question. So I made a video on learning from animals, and one guy commented, "Do you think the animals are more actually evolved than us?" And we say our humans say that we are the most evolved, but there's nobody to contradict it.
hmm.
And so we all, with our all great ego, we all accept this bullshit. But how can you say that you are more evolved? Why not animals are more evolved? So this is again a topic of great debate and discussion. But animals have, we all have those abilities, but we have suppressed it. And they sense so many things. They can, my car will come and my dog will know from 100 meters away that my car has come. So many cars have come. How do they understand? People can, in my childhood, we never had this weather forecast. We never had these applications. Probably a long time back, 5 decades back, there was hardly any weather department. And people could predict rain. People could predict weather. I remember my father telling, or we were also guessing that that bird is tweeting, probably it's going to rain. And 2 days before, people can predict, and
Wow.
animals can predict. Yeah.
Wow. Just from studying nature. Yeah, that makes me think of how much of that has been lost as well, right? Like the natives could look at the birds and know that there was food nearby, or just using nature or other animals to know that they're
I, I put
intrinsically.
I put on my balcony. I put food whenever I put food. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes for all the, because there's a forest in front of my house and there are so many birds. And I started putting fruits also. I was putting mangoes last time. And when I put mango, even the peacock started coming and looking.
Oh,
You know, he because peacock never comes. But then I saw that day 2, 3 peacocks were standing on the boundary wall, and they were looking towards my balcony because probably the word spread like a fire that there's mango being given.
the word.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I've
uh,
seen one couple, mostly the couples come. Like there's one bird which comes, and then he or she comes, and they will start tweeting, basically calling the others.
he
So
just put
I'm
it, he just put
watching.
it out. There's more.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, you also come. I'm here. There's food. Come, come, come. Like something like that. Yeah. And I can see that. I can probably understand this is what they're doing. And if you watch, you
Mhm.
realize how they're doing.
How they're communicating, and then minutes
Yeah, yeah.
later, more birds are
They
coming.
they communicate with you also. Like when I come there, if I don't, I remember a long time back, 2016, my wife had gone to Paris and I was alone. And she used to feed the bird at 6, and I'm not a morning riser. And next day, 6 o'clock, there's a bird coming in my window because she used to give in the kitchen. But the bird came on my window and shouting. First day, I didn't realize. Second day, again, the bird is shouting at 6. Then I said, oh, because I did not feed. So she's making noise in
Yeah.
my window.
Bird's pissed.
Yeah, the
But
bird was pissed.
but that is funny that an animal can have expectations too, isn't it?
No, they are conditioned. We have made them a habit. We make a habit.
You're right.
So
Maybe
she's telling me,
expectations isn't the right word.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's
they get tuned to something, and I think if we break it, it's our fault to break it.
that's funny. Last episode we discussed the intersection of science and spirituality. So, how do you perceive consciousness, and what is the role in spirituality in everyday life?
A lot of people talk different things about consciousness. Like I was speaking to this NASA scientist in one video which I have uploaded. It's on her channel also, and she has written a book called Quantum Being, and she says that the whole is all light. We are all light beings. But like I have to do some study on speed of light and what is light. Like we all talk about photons. We talk about quantum physics, photons, and consciousness is basically we are to basically realize means not read a book and realize.
Hmm.
You have to feel it. We have to
Mm.
understand. The actual knowledge is to understand from inside, to feel it, that we are energy being, we are not this. So right questioning is that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. I am a body, I have a brain, I operate, I perform tasks, I have a program, I am getting some energy to sustain. Now where is that energy coming from? What is this connection? What is the source? Like there is a light, there'll be a bulb somewhere, but there's a light.
Mhm.
So there's a source. So we are there. Where is the source? Where is the source of this energy which is keeping us alive? When the energy source is removed, the body, this whole body is there, brain is there, everything is there, but it doesn't work. So where is that source? What is that common source which is keeping the whole universe alive? We say every piece of metal or material has atoms, atomic level.
Hmm.
Where is that energy coming from? They called God particle. They finally, scientists said God particle. Now they
Yeah.
are struggling. They're stuck. In fact, I've just finished making a video on how the science is trying to explore humanity and the cosmic science, how poor they are. So point is, consciousness is like Einstein was good. Einstein said E is equal to mc square. He said energy and transformation. So it's all energy. And some we see in the space, they call it, the astrophysics call it dust and gas. The dust and gas got together and made a disk, and then disk became a planet. Then meteors collided. Then how made a wild imagination people have, and it becomes a theory accepted by people in the scientific world. But what is dust? You see a Milky Way from far off, billions of trillions of light years away. You
Hmm.
see it as a gas, so you say there is gas. Obviously, it will look like a gas, but when you go closer, it will be, I think probably you'll not be able to even look
Hmm.
at it.
Yeah.
So you see something, you take a photograph from a telescope and you analyze those photographs, movement of galaxies, and you create some own theories. You are doing all bullshit. So consciousness is basically, it's actually energy. It is energy, and which is a, you can call it
Interesting.
divine energy or
Yeah.
cosmic energy.
You're saying like energy is identifying other sources of energy. That's all we are in a sense.
Yeah, we are part of the energy source. So that is consciousness. There's a common source. The common source of energy for this universe has to be a common source.
Hmm.
Like if I create a generator, what is the source? There is a generator. There's a plant. There's a electric plant. Power generation plant. That is a source for so many people, so many cities, probably, or one city, or so many people. That's a source, common source.
One of the,
So
no, go ahead, finish.
yeah, so consciousness is a word. It's a word we have coined, which looks very close in the dictionary of English language, close to energy. But Einstein used that as energy. And when we use consciousness, it looks mystical, isn't it? So by
Hmm.
consciousness, people look at a mystical word, which cannot be understood. But if you see it scientifically, actually scientifically, it is energy. And now energy, is it in form of light? What form it is? Or if we cannot see, then why do we try to define it? There is some energy. And when we cannot define it, then we give it a mystical word called consciousness.
Mm, that makes sense. Yeah. We need terms to describe the things we don't know. So that makes sense.
We
Um,
only describe what we can see, but what we cannot see, then we say it doesn't exist. And then we give some emotional terms.
One of the other ones, like I was talking about bureaucracy possibly being constant throughout the universe, but the other one I was thinking of was what if graduation was also another constant? Because you know how the Tibetans are saying to graduate in this life, there's certain steps, things like that, to be
Yeah, yeah.
reincarnation, all that kind of concept.
See, everything is structured. This whole universe is structured. And if you see what humans also do, it's quite a lot. Whatever we have done good, if you see whatever humans have done good, which is kind of organized and we have given some structure, is based out of some logic. And same logic applies in the whole universe because whatever we do good, we are doing out of a true nature, which is defined by the universe, by the creation, by the design we have, by the human design. But whatever we don't do good, that also we identify it's not good, or we can identify through self-analysis. So whatever we do good, we have created schools, we have created a structure for education. Now we have not created a structure for human evolution or humanity, study of humanity. Tibetan, they have a study of humanity well defined. So that's why they call it. We don't have, but unknowingly we are trying to do it. Now there is nobody giving a certification. There is a school for this. We are floating in a very unknown world. Tibetans have defined it. In Hinduism also it was defined, but now it has been ill-defined because it's become mystical. There's an element of mysticism and all that stuff. So they have kind of colluded and infiltrated in the system for their greedy benefits. But Buddhism have still kept it pure, especially in
Mm,
Tibet.
hmm.
If you see that, that's the only
Interesting.
difference.
Interesting. Um, so we're on the last 10 minutes here, and I want to know the real meaning of relationships and marriage, but I also want you to jump into the seclusion and solitude of your journey that you're about to take. So however you want to handle this last 10 minutes and touch on relationships, marriage, and solitude.
Relationship, marriage also. I've made a video now, 2 videos on relationships. Relationship, as I told, it's like a contract. It's like a transaction. You don't have a relationship with someone in India, probably. You don't have, no. You have relationship with some people which are already defined in your life by the society. Okay. So the society has defined certain roles based on certain biological evolution and biological connections, probably, and some professional connection in that geography. You may have now, due to digital explosion, some more connections, but they are not really relationship. We are talking, but we don't have any relationship, but we are, this is like a professional interaction.
Mhm.
So there might be 1% iota of amount of relationship also in this. So relationship is basically when we have these transactions, we define a certain responsibility around it, which is basically KRA. That's more important, and it's not, and you are actually expected to perform that. So that expectation is fair to have.
Mhm.
But if people don't do, then we get into a problem, and then we are into argument because I don't know what my roles are. And I said, no, you also do. You also do. In the home, we'll do like this. No, you also do. Why should I do this? Why should I do this? So we have forgotten what my roles are. And I'm comparing, I'm trying to do what you should be doing, and you are trying to do what that person should be doing,
Mhm.
or that person doesn't want to do this because doesn't like it. It's not about liking and disliking. Or somebody's told this job is not good, so why should I do this? So somebody has created that narrative that this job is not good, you should be doing this. Like especially a woman, they say home housewife is not being. It's not good to be housewife. It's not good to clean the window. Only you don't clean the window. Let men clean the window. So we fight over these kind of stupid things, and we create differences in this is not good, that is not good, and you realize that everything is good, equally bad. So relationship is not understanding our KRAs, not understanding how do we exist in a society, and that's why the marriages or relationships fail, because our relationship is now it's all, there's no foundation. Like a girl will see what is your what is the number of figures in your salary,
There's
and
expectations.
man will see how attractive she is physically, because he's, I know. So that's the youngsters, and as you move up, there are problems in the society with more women in the society. So there is a more opportunity to do it because there is opportunity, and there are, when more living in the house, there were only men in the society outside. These things didn't happen much. When you create that kind of interaction, when you allow that permittivity, when you there's more permissive society. We say more conservative, more permissive. Permissive means what? You are letting, you're breaking some rules. Probably you don't know what rules you've broken. You do not realize what repercussions it will have. You made it happen, and you are glamorizing the society and more glamorizing. What is glamorizing? So if you really see what is the ultimate end result of all this, and who is the trigger? Capitalist. Why
Oh
they've done
man.
it? Yeah.
It's all
So
just to
so
make ruining relationships to make more money is what it sounds like.
yeah. So
Wow.
relationship is the foundation of relationship is gone. The basis, the goal of relationship, goal of family has been completely lost, and we are now, the governing factors in our life are very different, which nobody really knows.
We let the AI decide for us now. Who is my ideal wife? And you swipe.
Yeah, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. Now, I think this much is enough for this point, I think. And if you want to ask about solitude and
Yeah, we got 3 minutes left.
seclusion, so the solitude is basically, if you are detached, then solitude comes. There's a difference between loneliness and solitude. So people really don't understand what is loneliness. We are, we have community, we thrive in a community, we have a community, we have relationships, we have responsibilities, we have mutual dependency. So when you have mutual dependency, we are not used to being lonely. We want people to share, talk, and we want to do for others. because there's joy of giving. So whatever we do for others, and we get happiness from that. So so that community has been created, that you make your wife happy, and she will make you happy, but not by some glamorous means, but by the task which she's have. Like, so you have your way of looking after your family, and the family has a way of looking after you. So there's a mutual dependency. But we get attached in that. If we are detached, we can still be in a family, but then we are in a solitude. Mentally, we are in a solitude. When we are not attached, we are performing like a robot. We are performing like a machine, but I won't say that we are performing like a machine or a robot, but we are also enjoying it without being attached. I am giving what I should be doing. If I'm doing and making others happy, I'm getting happiness in return from that. They are looking after me. So there's a mutual caring which is happening, but you are still not attached, because attachment will create a problem. So
Maybe,
that's a solitude.
maybe you can answer this in a minute. Why do you choose to spend extended periods connecting with the nature? Because last time you spoke about living in the forest. So maybe you can speak about the Himalayas briefly, real quick.
See, what happens is we are making an effort to be with the nature today. We were naturally supposed to be in nature, but today
Mm.
we have to make an effort, because people like us who live in the big cities, metro cities, we have even forgotten that the nature. So now, if I have to talk about that, I have to be with them to live in the forest. It is considered something very like random or radical, which is like abnormal. I got this poll done on my YouTube channel, and except one out of 85, everybody voted for living in the nature is normal. I asked, is living in the nature normal or living in the city normal? Everybody answered living in the nature. But how many people are living? How many
True.
people, if you try to live, people will shoot you down. Your family will shoot you down. My wife is already shooting
Wow.
me down.
Oh my God.
She's already fired enough salvos.
You're like, you're leaving me. Well, we're in the last 30 seconds, Shiv. I appreciate you coming back on, and hopefully we'll get you on the next episode when you come back and we can grab all your spiritual insights.
Sure, fine. Thanks. And I don't know whether I'll come back. When will I come back? But yeah, we can keep in touch if you send a mail, and if I'm having a connectivity, probably we can do that. Sure.
Awesome. Let me know when you're
Okay.
back. I would love to talk and catch up.
Sure. Sure. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. Wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
More than rich.